The idea, insight, or secret you need for massive impact is just moments away. It's time to claim your career crown. The podcast where business owners and entrepreneurs share the keys to the kingdom to help you open the vault to your greater success. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I am joined by the most amazing woman. She is a coach, she's a mentor, now she's a business partner, Jane M. Powers. I am so excited to have her here today because we're going to be talking about how a 17.5-second intromercial creates your unfair sales advantage. Because how you communicate builds rapport and relationships from the first time you open your mouth. And if you get a ton of value in this episode, I would love to invite you to subscribe because it costs nothing to subscribe. Let me tell you about Jane. With decades of successful speaking and coaching, and perhaps most important of all, real life experience, founding and running multi-million-dollar businesses, Jane appreciates that success is truly about the power of your core message. Jane is known for her practical, down-to-earth style and her fusion of savvy conversational techniques and real-life stories allow her to connect with her audience on an intensely captivating level. For over 25 years, Jane has been stepping out into the spotlight with a signature talk, moving people to action to make more money, have more fun, and most of all, make a difference. Jane, I am so thrilled to have you here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
I was getting so entrenched in what you were saying. I thought, who is that person you're talking about? Thanks for having me. You know, we go way back, you and I, and to be on here, to be a collaborator, a partner of yours is truly an honor for me. So I'm excited to help everybody understand what the heck are you and I going to do together and what are you going to do in the world. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, so am I. This is really a terrific talk right now because if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you're familiar with how tough it can be to answer the question, what do you do? And unfortunately, many lose the precious opportunity to make a good first impression due to a simple pause or that dreaded, well. So, Jane, let's talk about the good news. And the good news is a 17.5-second solution, the intromercial. And I'm going to let you kick it off because this is your baby and brainchild.
Yes. And it's funny because a lot of people ask me, where did you come up with this? And I wish I had some spectacular progressive story. I have no idea. A lot of times I tell people I pulled it out of the air. I'm not kidding. Here's what was happening. I've been a professional speaker over 35 years. I created 4 multi-million-dollar businesses. I am no genius. I'd love to say I know business inside and out. No, what I know people. People need to connect. In absence of a connection, we're just having conversations that go nowhere. My goal is every intention when you're in business, everything you do should be, number one, how do I serve at the highest level? Number two, how do I love what I do? And number three, how do I make enough money that satisfies my desire? And a lot of people, Lynn, we talk about this all the time. You go to a networking, you're on an event, anything, and you ask someone, hey, what do you do? And the very first thing they say is, right away, you've lost thousands of dollars. Now, Lynn, I don't know if you know this. I had a giant banner that I would go speak at events. I'd have my booth, my banners up, and my banner said, give me 20 seconds and I'll find 20K in your business. And people would laugh and well, how are you going to find 20K in 20 seconds? And I said, get 4 friends. I'll do 5 of you in 20 seconds and show each one of you where you're losing money. And I'm not kidding. Every time I look like a rock star because people don't know how to explain what they do in an instant in 17.5 seconds. And that is our promise to you that you will get it down to 17 and a half. But anyhow, I'd have 5 people stand in front of me and all I would say is, what do you do? And they go, I go, you're done. That's 20K right there. So I would go through each one of them and then they'd look at me and go, well, how do you do it? And I would say, entrepreneurs, hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent and cannot close a room. So I help connect, capture, and close your ideal audience. Bottom line, every time you open your mouth, you make money. And they'd look and they'd be like, what is that? And that's where it's the intromercial. And the intromercial is essentially an elevator pitch on steroids.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really incorporates some key components. I mean, if we'll go through that, but the first thing is, who's your ideal client? And they're the ones that hire you, right? They hire you. And the second component is, why do they hire you? I mean, what's happening in their business? What are their challenges or stumbling blocks or pain points? What's the thing they really want to have fixed, right? And then how do you help and serve them? Right? So it's really talking all around your ideal client, what they want, need, or lack, why it matters to them, so they can what? And that's the bottom, so they can what, right? And so that's why I love the intromercial, is that in this very, very quick, immediate way, you can communicate who you serve, how you serve them, and what's the impact that you create.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing. And you can use this everywhere. It's not just at networking events. It's not just at your introduction when you're out going out on stage or you're on a podcast, not just on your LinkedIn profile or your website. You can just use it all over the place.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that, Jane, how the intromercial truly clarifies what you do and leaves people wanting more.
And that is the great question everybody has, is how do I find a lead? How do I capture a lead? And how do I close a lead? And trust me, the hardest part of any business is finding your leads. Once you can, that's gold. I mean, that is beyond golden for you. But if you gather a room full of leads and your introduction, your presentation, what you offer falls flat, guess what? That's an inordinate amount of money you've just wasted. So coming up, let me give you 3 of the primary, Lynn knows this like the back of her hand, but let me give you how I break it down as well. She described the different components of it. Who, what, and why. Why do they want to work with you? The way I look at the intromercial and the way I designed it was position me, position them, position your offer. That's in any message that you're delivering, any message. So for example, Lynn said, hire me. That's a huge component of the intromercial. Hire me says, I've got a viable business. But if you're saying, I help entrepreneurs and business owners, I'm sorry, you sound like a volunteer. It doesn't establish a high level of credibility. So the very first thing you want to do is step into credibility. Position me. I'm awesome. Entrepreneurs hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority. I'm awesome. Position them. You're screwed. Essentially, if you can't speak with confidence and sell with authority, you're screwed. So the position them is because most. Now, please understand, if you haven't seen me around the industry, where the hell have you been? But honestly, I am one that I cut to the chase. So I'm able to get away with boring, confusing, and inconsistent because I've been around long enough and people know the credibility of what I do. Be cautious on how direct you are in the position them. That's why we add in there because most. Doesn't that sound nicer, Lynn?
Yeah.
Because most.
Yeah.
It may not be you.
Yeah.
You know it's them, right? You know they're boring, confusing, and inconsistent and can't close a room. So because most softens it, then you move into here's where you get to say I help. So I help, and then you tell what the benefit of the work that you do. Now let me tell you how you use the intromercial. It is an accordion. The intromercial is actually your 20-minute talk. Let me demonstrate. So if someone asks me, hey, I need you to speak for 20 minutes, what can you give me? This is the easiest thing you can do. When you get an intromercial formatted, it gives you position me, I'm awesome, position them, you're screwed, position your offer, we're going to work together and I'm going to help get you out of this position. So that's the format of your talk. So I go in, I give my intromercial, right? Entrepreneurs hire me, speak, confidence, sell with authority because most boring, confused, get consistent. So I help connect, capture, and close your ideal audience. How the heck do you connect, capture, and close your ideal audience in this climate of our industry? Let me tell you how. First way to do it, number one, you must. And then I go into my talk. That is the most powerful system because in the first 17.5 seconds of your presentation, people are going, I want to speak with confidence and sell with authority. I'm not going to tell them I'm boring, confusing. And Lynn, it could be your intromercial. It doesn't matter which one we use. You always have that jumping off point. You establish, number one, that you're awesome. The second thing you establish is they will self-select to listen to more of what you have to say. So you can use it as your short talk. It's essentially your long talk. Guess what you have to do? Throw more content in, more stories, right? The other way you use it is anywhere you can on social media. I tell people take the first section of your intromercial and put it on your LinkedIn, the line right under
The very first line right there. Yeah.
Yep. So, and I know Lynn has other ideas. Mine is all over websites, social media, everything I possibly can, because I'm going to give you an example. When Lynn and I create these, because here's the truth of the matter. This is, as Lynn said, this is my pride and joy. I wouldn't hand off a newborn baby to just anybody. I wouldn't. I'd be like, are you going to care for the baby? You're going to make sure that it's safe. Lynn and I came together. I've been working with Lynn for a long time. And when we came together, in my heart, I went, she will take care of my precious, what do you call it? Baby. It sounds weird, but you know what I mean. This intellectual property that has made me, I'm not lying, millions. I'll give you an example. So when I handed this for Lynn to be able to partner with me and start to learn this, I'm not going to lie. I thought I was like the only one who could do this. And truly, there's not many. There's not many. Lynn came back with a couple intromercials and I go, all right, I knew it. It landed exactly where I would have put it. So let me give you an example. I was at National Speakers Association here in Arizona, and a gal, I had to leave. I had to get out of there, but I wanted to talk to this gal because she stood up and she said, oh, I'm a cancer survivor coach, and was telling what she did. And I went over and I said, listen, I got to run, but I'm Jane Powers, and entrepreneurs like yourself hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority. And I went into it like a conversation. So it wasn't because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent. I was like, because most really can't get their message out. They're usually boring, confusing, and inconsistent. What I'd love for you to do so you can connect, capture, and close your audience, give me a call. That took me literally 30 seconds to deliver that, give her my information. I jet out the room, out of the event. She calls me. We had probably a 20-minute conversation, and she bought a $24,000 package. Do you like the odds of that? In 30 minutes, let's say I had to prepare for 2 minutes, 30 minutes of my time to close a deal at 24,000. That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Absolutely not. And I think it really demonstrates how the intromercial truly articulates your message so clearly that people are going to flock to you as the expert. And that really revolves around, as after you position me, position them, but then positioning the offer, the solution, and the bottom line.
Right. Yep. It speaks for itself. And oh, you know what I love? This is my favorite. Is if I go to an event or I go to anything, right? And I'll walk in, people will look at me and they'll go, "Oh, And I go, "What's the matter?" And they'll go, "I'm not sitting near you. I'm not following you. Your intromercial makes me look like a fool." And what I tell people is, go to the link, which Lynn is going to provide you, because I'm going to tell you, I love the intromercial. It is my brainchild, but it's not, don't hate us. It's not the easiest to do on your own. I'll tell you why. You will you know how they say get rich in a niche, and then everybody narrows their niche to like this? Doesn't always work. So I have a lot of people that come to me and they'll go, motivated, succeeding, passionate, wonderful, fabulous entrepreneurs hire me. Well, you lost me at maybe I don't feel fabulous. Maybe I don't feel successful. Now we've narrowed it so far that if a word doesn't connect with someone, they're gone.
Right.
So the who is somewhat general, but you target where you're delivering this.
Right.
So if I work with entrepreneurs and business owners, now I also work with corporate execs and corporate teams. Am I going to go to an event of entrepreneurs and go, corporate teams hire me? No, I'm niching in the proper room. So keep in mind, you got to keep it general, but then specific. That's the hard part. So don't hate us, but you're going to love us because Lynn's going to put a link in the notes for you to click on. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get both our brains. I'm sort of the Rain Man in this. I don't know. It just happened. It's my stupid human trick. It just happens. Lynn and I are going to put the brains on your intromercial because I promise most have a dissertation. I have people, they buy the formula, right? They're like, I just want to make my own because I'm pretty sure I can. They come back and they're like, entrepreneurs hire me. The first step of what we're going to do is 10 minutes later, I still don't know what they're doing. And it's a pet peeve of almost everyone in the industry, in any industry.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all go to those events. I mean, I told you a recent story with a new client, and after the first hour meeting, I still was not clear on what she did.
Yeah.
It was she's so wrapped up in the tech and the details. So I had a second meeting, and I finally, after an hour, figured out, well, this is what you really do. And then I got excited about it. And the next time we met, I had her intromercial for her, and she almost started to cry because it was the first time that someone had taken this, which was why she was completely failing at networking events. Her talks were a disaster. She wasn't getting any leads. No one was scheduling a discussion with her. She's no traction because she was delivering all of this, if you can see how far my arms are. And most people don't want to get into all the tech about how you create this magic, right?
Nobody cares how we get there. Yeah. Nobody cares how just give me the ultimate promise of what you're going to offer me and then deliver. So, and I want to warn people, this is a system. I'm going to say it's fail proof. I had one guy, I think, said to me one time, well, if you say because it is, I can't remember what the feedback was. And of course, I'm very protective and I probably was defensive. So I did some research. Do you know that the word because triggers in the mind why? Yeah. It is the immediate response that unconsciously, automatically, our brain asks the question why. See, what happens when we start saying our intromercial, the way we design this, there's brain science in it. It is not just this sounds like a great bunch of words. It actually, the first line, by the time I'm done saying speak with confidence, sell with authority, they're already off in Hawaii with an umbrella and their drinks sitting on the beach. That's the attention span of individuals. It might even be shorter by now. But once I say the word because, the brain comes back and says, why? So our immediate knee jerk is to say, why? Like, why is that? And then I'm able to say most. And I always raise my shoulders because what I'm saying next is somewhat a punch in the gut. And I'll go, because most. That's sort of my, I'm sorry for being so direct, because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent. And I've had people, Lynn, I've had people go, I'm not boring. I'm not boring at all. You come to my talk. So I had one, this gal said to me, I'm not boring, confusing, or inconsistent. And I said, okay, because last week I thought you were a book publisher. She wasn't. And so she said, if you will drive to, and it had to be local, of course. She said, if you'll drive to my presentation and you sit through that and you find me to be any one of those three, I will give you my credit card. I said, okay, I'll take that challenge on. I went, she started her talk. I was taking notes and she thought, oh my God, I'm killing it. She's taking all these notes. I'm killing it. So at the end, I had a long outline and I went up to her and I said, call me tomorrow with your credit card. She goes, what do you mean? And I said, I'll show you where you lost thousands of dollars in your presentation. The next day she called me. Guess what she did? Give me her credit card, $24,000. It didn't take me but an hour to go through the process. You guys, here's what I have to tell you. There's new ways, creative ways to land clients. It's not the bottom line, I'm going to 10x your business. We love that, don't we, Lynn?
Oh, that, and I'm going to up level whatever it is.
I'm going to take you to the next level. What am I? I'm in the basement. You're going to take me to the first. I want the penthouse. Most people, number one, most people don't know what to say, how to say it, and more importantly, they do not know how to connect with the audience. Yeah. We're all out here, and I've told this story 100,000 times. I was in drug and alcohol treatment centers working. I was working in drug and alcohol treatment centers. We do interventions. I worked in the community, the prison. I would go, a guy would have a needle in his arm, foaming out of his mouth, no money, no home, no family, no nothing, ready to code out. I'm not lying to you. And we'd say, we're going to get you help. Help was too general. Yeah. And they would say, that doesn't work for me today. And you'd look and you go, well, tomorrow you won't be here. Yeah. Most people in the world are suffering from something that you can solve the problem for. Lynn solves many problems in her business. I solve many problems in my business, but it's not for everyone. But what it is for are those that are aching and they may not even be aware of their own problem. Your intromercial has to gently poke the bruise. Don't put salt on the wound, for God's sake. That's just shameful selling. Help him to understand. If I said to that guy laying in the curb, ODing, if I said, okay, wish you the best, we'll talk to you tomorrow and see if it works, I would be a disservice. Yeah. If I went to that woman's talk and sat there and went, oh my God, she's dreadful, boring, confusing, and inconsistent, and no one's going to buy, and I walked out and said, high five, good job, shame on me. Your intromercial must get to the heart of the problem, show hope for a solution, but it's also got to be targeted. Lynn, you're a master at this. You're better at this than I am. When she talks about the who, I'm just like, I don't know, pick one. I'm like, Lynn is so good at diagnosing and diving into who the heck do I really want to work with? Because truth be told, you got to love who you're working with. You've got to. I started out as a spiritual life coach, and then I found out I was way too impatient. Everybody wanted to Zen. I wanted to Zen at 832,000 miles an hour. So I was working with everyone and anyone, and I was attracting a lot of divorcees. Is that the women or the men? I don't know. The women that got divorces. And they would go on and on about their ex and the problems. That was not an audience for me.
Yeah.
I did not want to sit in the muck. I wanted to move into life. So you've got to evaluate. And here's the best way to do that: write down who you don't want to work with.
Yeah.
I don't want to work this person. Now you know. And then you go into, again, niching. If I go into corporate America, I'm saying corporate executives hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority. If I'm working with plumbers hire me. Now, don't say you can work with someone if you can't. It's vital. Okay, Lynn, I'm sorry. I'm yammering
No,
on.
yeah, no, that's all good. I actually got distracted by my cat. Sorry.
I,
Nobody
you
can
guys,
see it. It
I'm,
was like leaping. I was going, what's going on?
I'm
Sorry.
boring Lynn. She's paying attention to her cat instead of me.
Oh my gosh. How is that possible? No, but it is true. And really getting into that, I mean, that's what I love about the intromercial is it truly frames your ideal client in this very profound way in 17.5 seconds. And it just for your own self, the clarity it provides. It's like, this is who I work with. This is what I do. This is how I serve them. And this is the results that they're going to receive. It's incredibly powerful for your own confidence and just really standing in your power of what you do and really putting a frame around that so that you can clearly and quickly articulate it.
Yeah, ditch the old-fashioned elevator pitch. That's my motto. Oh my God, I help, and you can make it very conversational.
Yeah.
I mean, it is now, and here's the beauty. Your intromercial is already in your testimonials. It's already in your website copy. It's in some of the emails you send out. You don't even know you're sitting on a gold mine of what the heck you do, but to put it into a succinct system that actually has science working on your behalf, that's the beauty of it. Is speak with confidence, sell with authority. It's my shameless plug. That's my book. Like, that's my book. So how brilliant. I didn't even think of it because here was mine. Lynn, I don't even think you know my original intromercial. This is a work in progress. It's a living, breathing statement. Mine used to be, entrepreneurs hire me to unleash the world-class speaker in them. Oh, I thought it was so cool. And then I get to the end. So I help speak with confidence and sell with authority. A woman said to me, "Oh, do you do sales training?" And I thought, oh my, oh no, that's all I do. Speaking to sell, selling to sell, serving to sell, it doesn't matter. But she didn't catch that until the very end. So that's when I took that out because, yeah, I'm a speaking coach, right? We write talks for people, we do all the, but the key of what I really do is I help you serve at the highest level by selling without being creepy. And that's what the intromercial does. Because the truth is, bottom line, my bottom line, it's sort of that summary of everything that comes together. I do this from stage. Again, my stupid human trick, right?
Yeah.
So I do it from stage. People line up at the mic and I'm like, "So what do you do?" And they go, "I help." And I go, "Meh." Terrible. But they tell me what they do. One woman, it was like your client. I stood up there. I tried to figure out what she did. And I finally said, she was getting so frustrated. And I said, "Am I pissing you off?" And she goes, "Yes." And I said, "Well, you're really not clear." And I really sort of unloaded like feedback. And I go, "Are you really pissed now?" And she goes, "Yes." And I go, "Tell me what you do." And she goes, and she said, and I go, "There you go." And then I created the intromercial for her. That's where the bottom line came in.
Yeah.
Because if you get so frustrated and somebody's like, "Well, I don't really know what you do," you're like, "Oh my God." Bottom line, every time you open your mouth, you make money.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
That makes sense. Now, you know what some people do, Lynn, right? We've seen this. Some people will go, "Bottom line, hire me." Oh, no,
No, it's
that's
the ultimate
creepy.
benefit, really. It's really that ultimate, statement about uh, that ties in with who you serve in your offer.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people, like I said, they go off into the how, they go off into the details, they go off into, or they go the other extreme, and there's a lot of hype that's placed in there. And it's, we're going to, what is it now? They're like, oh, I only work with 8-figure entrepreneurs, or just be
Yeah.
real, be true, and be who you are. And, there's a lot of hacks out there attempting to utilize the intromercial. I just had a call the other day. It's great if somebody tries to create that for you. I'm going to tell you, there's a deliberate intention to the system that we have provided.
Yeah.
Just be so authentically you that you don't lose sight of the reason you got into business. And that we can get on a whole nother podcast with that one, Lynn.
And that's a core piece of this too, is really when you're working through your sales strategy. The intramercial is such a, I don't want to call it's literally, it is like the tip of the iceberg, but all the stuff below is good. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like the iceberg in one sentence.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like this beacon that you can look to, and when you are working with your clients and you're having those conversations, it helps you reposition yourself. Like, this isn't, at the end of the day, it isn't about you. It's about them and how you're going to best serve them to achieve their goals, right?
Yeah.
And what matters to them, so that they can be their amazing self and do the service that they do for their clients.
I think the biggest problem that most people, in the years that I've been doing this, the biggest problem people have is, if I don't give enough information, if I don't give all the details, then people aren't going to even want to work with me. So it's an interesting dynamic that goes on. And gosh, Lynn and I both collectively have over, I hate to say it, probably 80 years of sales experience. I mean, her being older, I'm sure makes a big difference. But honestly, what we know when you're in a sales conversation, and please understand, when I talk about a sales conversation, guess what that is? The second you get out of your car to go into an event, or the second you hop online and you're in a little Zoom room, you are selling. Yeah. You are absolutely selling. I'm at a guest home to where this is not my background. This is huge for me. I have a very set up background because it sells. Yeah. You have to be so intentional about everything. But what I think most people do is they try to sell from, I'm going to give them everything I possibly can. If I dump the entire load, they're going to trust, they're going to know. Guess what they don't care about? They don't care about how much you're going to give. They care about, are you listening?
Yeah.
Can you validate my pain and suffering? Can you solve the problem I'm putting in front of you? And will I survive and be worthy when it all comes to a close? That's the key. And what we try to do is go, oh my God, will you like me more? Let me tell you. So here's what I do. We start out with this. Nobody cares. They care about themselves.
Yeah.
They care about themselves. And that's where most people lose the power of intention, when I help, and then they go into a dissertation. Nobody cares how you do it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And it's the key thing in sales. I mean, you really are a detective of
Yes.
learning about the other person and understanding, and also everyone's path is unique. And so with one person, like that, when I had the example, I started with that intromercial because it was so important. She was such a muddled hot mess that she had to have that clarity. With somebody else, that might not be the first thing that we do, right? I mean, it really, it always has to be part of it. So I want to get us to wrap up, Jane. And
Okay, that's Lynn's really nice way of saying, I'm cutting you off because, holy God, nobody stays on longer than 30 minutes.
That's like, not quite, but Jane, thank you so much for sharing how a 17.5-second intromercial creates your unfair sales advantage. And I know that our audience is going to want to know more about how they can get their own intromercial. And just to your point, the intromercial is not a $24,000 program.
Darn it.
Yeah, well, there is, that's a whole nother piece of helping you with your sales and really putting that all into place. But the intromercial itself, we do have an opportunity for those of you who want an intromercial to be able to get that.
Yeah, you got to go, just click on the link. I promise you, it is probably the best. It probably would be a month's worth of Starbucks. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know, but it will cost you
about 2 weeks worth of Starbucks.
It's a ridiculous opportunity, in my opinion, and I'm biased, but I'll tell you, I'm living off the fat of the land because of the intromercial. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do because I have established that. What I want to tell you is it's the lowest price for an investment that's going to get you the greatest leverage. And it's a platform. You stand on that intromercial and it's like it grows legs. And that's the beauty of it. And we'll put our noggins together and put together a pretty cool intromercial or two for you.
Yeah, we give you more than one version. So we absolutely do that. We give you 2 versions so that of the intromercial. And there's so many different ways that you'll be able to use that. So Jane, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our listeners who joined us today. This has been a very lively and fun conversation. And Jane, as always, I'm so glad that we actually have not done this very much and we should do it more often.
Yes, I totally agree. Everybody, I can't wait to get my brain power on your intromercial and get you out in the world so that you can speak with confidence and sell with authority.
Bye, everyone.
What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? I would love to hear about it. It's important to share the things you love. If you loved this episode, a 5-star review really helps keep the podcast coming to you regularly. Also, if you want to get more sales strategies to grow your business, make sure you subscribe right now. If you want to get results even faster, I invite you to download my sales strategy checklist at petitetoqueen.com/checklist. This has been Lynn Whitbeck, host of Claim Your Career Crown. I'll see you next time.